So I've never heard about men getting pregnant. I've never heard about this argument. It must be some part of what you call the far left that is so minuscule that I, who am...
No, Jane.
What?
It's not minuscule, and I'm sorry, you can't throw this back on us. I assume it's because you are locked into media that just never wants anyone in their audience to know anything sketchy about.
The tone changed when Jane Fonda sat down with Bill Maher on Club Random and attempted to express those ideas in a real dialogue. Maher didn't just nod. Instead, he challenged her with specifics, moving the conversation beyond slogans. Here's a quick look at how that exchange transpired. Jane Fonda has recently returned to the political spotlight, participating in protest messaging and criticizing Hollywood and society at large.
It was about a garage door?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that is...
No, you know this about California. Come
No,
on.
I don't.
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't.
You've never heard that California is overtaxed and overregulated? That we are a one-party state where there's sort of no checks on that sort of extreme leftism. And what do you think?
I don't for a minute consider California a state that is extreme leftist. Not at all, not any way.
Well, that shows where you're...
The first thing that strikes me about this exchange is how alone Jane Fonda sounds in spite of everything going on around her. She seems so engrossed in celebrity culture, political circles, and media acclaim that she has lost sight of how these issues are perceived outside of them, where it's simple to confuse praise for truth when moral performance is rewarded over sincere inquiry. At that point, Bill Maher starts to encourage her to think about how common people perceive these problems, rather than acting like a fan or using prestige as evidence. This is where the friction begins.
These were people who were happy when Kennedy got assassinated. They became the birthers, they became the Tea Party. There's about a third of this country that's very hard right. Of course they love Trump. When he left office, he had an approval rating of 34%. So he really only had those people. Why is he now tied? Because the other part of the coalition are people who, they don't really like him that much. They just think the far left has gone so nutty on so many issues.
That's what they're being told.
That's what
By people like you.
Because it's true. You think the far left does nothing crazy?
Oh, I'm sure.
The conflict develops swiftly, making the moment illuminating. Fonda implies that Maher is exaggerating the impact of the far left, but she quickly concedes some aspects of the problem, following a pattern of denial, diversion, and reluctant acknowledgement, moving the discussion from whether a problem exists to how serious it is and who has disregarded it.
I don't know, who is the far left? What do you mean when you say far left?
I mean, I could give you a million
Yeah,
examples.
well, give me one.
Okay, the NAACP.
You think the NAACP is far
Could I
left?
finish my sentence?
Yes.
You asked me for an example.
Yeah.
Travel advisory, that's like the State Department does to go to. I'm sure when you went to Vietnam, they were advising you not to. There's a war on it.
I didn't talk to them. I don't have no.
I know, but you know a travel advisory.
Yeah.
Today we have them for very dangerous countries.
Yeah.
Don't go to North Korea. Don't go to Iran.
Yeah.
Do you know where they issued a travel advisory for black people not to go?
Yeah.
Florida. Every day there's stories like that just makes people roll their eyes and go, are you people nuts? Even if they don't matter that much, I don't think one person listened to this and thought, I can't go to Florida. But they just suggest something to the average person, which I completely understand, which is, wow, do you people ever find anything that's...
The Florida example is crucial because it gives the conversation a tangible foundation. When pressed, Maher doesn't remain abstract, but instead highlights a particular action that many consider to be out of touch, supporting his claim that voters' reactions aren't shaped by a single issue, but rather by a series of incidents that raise doubts about sincerity. He also appears to be fully aware of the political ramifications of doing so.
Think men can get pregnant? That kind of stuff. And I understand that a trans woman can get pregnant. That's different than a man getting pregnant. And the way they insist on blurring that line is that some sort of reasonable social cause, as opposed to just being for having full rights, respect, and protection.
The most contentious aspect of the conversation is the biology debate, as Maher contends that recognizing biological differences is a matter of science rather than disrespecting transgender people. He says that when messaging seems to contradict widely accepted facts, it runs the risk of alienating people, diverting support from more general objectives like defending rights and dignity, and turning disagreement into backlash rather than productive discourse.
Well, I've never heard about men getting pregnant. I've never heard about this argument. It must be some part of what you call the far left that is so minuscule that I, who am...
No, Jane,
What?
It's not minuscule, and I'm sorry you can't throw this back on us. I assume it's because you are locked into media that just never wants anyone in their audience to know anything sketchy about the blue.
At this point, the conversation starts to turn against Fonda as she tries to minimize the problem because many people have already seen these ideas circulate in politics, the media, education, and entertainment. Maher responds that although not everyone shares these views, they have gained enough traction that ignoring them is no longer effective, and Fonda's change from engaging with the topic to appearing unfamiliar with it
They
makes
give
her
them a
position
mansion
seem
in
less
Albany.
convincing.
I mean, I don't know. I read 2 papers, and maybe I don't. I should watch Fox News.
No,
I guess.
I don't watch that. That's too far. But you don't have to. I'm not going to.
The tone has changed by the time the Fox News comment is made. The joke highlights not only disagreement, but also a sense of alienation from wider public viewpoints, implying that Fonda may be less aware of generally seen disputes.
There's a lot we could unpack there, but that certainly has been the history of this country, was police who were all too willing to shoot black people. So defund the police, though, was not a good idea. And you know who mostly didn't think it was a good idea was black people, because they want police in their neighborhoods, probably more than we need them in.
The same pattern appears when the discussion shifts to defunding the police. A slogan that once seemed morally clear begins to fall apart under practical consequences, particularly in communities where public safety is most important. Maher's point is that some members of the activist left frequently blur the line between moral messaging and practical policy, and when results fall short, supporters occasionally backtrack, damaging credibility in the process.
The Republicans tried to catch the Democrats with this, and they put this on, they brought it up in Congress, and all the Democrats voted against it. The Democratic politicians were not for defunding the police. It's that radical fringe that has captured a lot of the media, academia, some of these cultural institutions that are not liberal anymore by my old school liberalism. The ACLU is all about free speech. They don't really believe in it anymore. They believe, in one of their chief people who is trans, and I will die on this hill of banning.
Maher contends that a tiny but inflexible group is rapidly influencing the larger discourse, restricting discussion and stifling disagreement, which may drive regular people away from the cause.
Most voters say U.S. can't repair severe divisions. It went into the fact that 5 years ago, even during the pandemic and during the George Floyd protests, even then people thought, well, we are going to get through this. And now they seem to be on the page of, it's not going to happen.
Bill,
what do we do? But did you see the story?
Yeah, and I think what's new about this moment, one of my teachers and friends, Dov Seidman, likes to say is, we aren't divided, we are being divided.
That's right.
By companies' profit, okay? And we have our divisions, we always have.
Because polarization gives ideological actors more power by transforming disagreement into moral conflict, the divide appears to be actively reinforced rather than accidental. When every opposing viewpoint is viewed as a crisis, debate turns into a loyalty test rather than a means of persuasion, which causes people to remain silent and makes the culture seem more coercive than truly tolerant.
You, on your phone, you ordered a yoga mat or something. Your algorithm figured out you're a liberal. Then your neighbor looked up a truck. You're conservative. And from that day forward, you got different information every day. Nobody sent a notice. And so now you literally think your neighbor is insane, because how could they probably think this stuff? But if you put your phone next to their phone, you're in different algorithmic universes. And
by creating isolated groups and reinforcing beliefs rather than challenging them, algorithms and information silos exacerbate divisiveness. It is preferable to engage with opposing viewpoints honestly rather than viewing them as dangers.